Hey, dismembers, it's Mindy. Let us continue ruining television for you. Because nobody, and I mean nobody, looks hot at 3 o'clock in the morning on real crime scenes. Nobody's rolling up in a crime scene Hummer. Nobody's hair is blown out. Nobody's wearing heels. Nobody's got perfect eyeliner. Nobody's flirting with the FBI agent while processing blood spatter simultaneously. And absolutely nobody, I repeat, nobody is solving a homicide in 42 minutes with 3 commercial breaks.
God, no, Mindy, that's not happening because at 3 a.m., you've got a polyester get up on that doesn't necessarily fit because your agency only stocks uniforms in men's sizes. You've got cold coffee from McDonald's drive-through. You got a flashlight in your mouth, which is not hygienic. Possibly
Oh,
someone's
God.
blood on your sleeve. Well, you tell yourself it's blood, and there's a very real chance you haven't peed in 6 hours because the nearest bathroom is a ditch. Welcome to Meet Me at the Morgue, dismembers. This is Nikki.
Or a sheriff's office porta potty,
Oh, yep.
which, honestly feels like a hate crime. Hate crime. And why? Why do they never clean those things? And why do grown adults think it's okay to miss? Just pee all over the damn floor.
Well, you know the answer to that. I mean, because it's dudes.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean,
Facts.
you have stated facts. So today, dismembers, you asked for it. Crime scenes. Who shows up? Who does what? Who's actually in charge? Who absolutely should not touch anything? There's a good question or a good answer. And why crime scene analysts quietly lose little pieces of their soul when someone says, "Hey, can I just take a quick peek?"
Oh, sweet baby Jesus. Don't be that guy. Stay in your freaking lane,
Yeah,
people.
never be that guy. So, dismembers, welcome to Crime Scene 101.
All right, Doc, before we get into what actually happens, let's talk about the absolute garbage television has taught all of us. Because according to TV, a forensic scientist is also somehow amazingly a lawyer, a psychologist, a detective, a medical examiner, a freaking hacker, and wait, apparently sleeping with half of the task force, which I mean, sometimes that might be a little bit more accurate than people realize.
Right? Yeah, I know. Somehow the detective is dating the FBI profiler, the DNA analyst is testifying in court as a forensic entomologist or bug expert, the lab director is interrogating suspects, and the medical examiner has a secret pill addiction. All because a murder on TV needs more drama? Come on, people.
I mean, honestly, and somehow they all still have all the time in the world for flawless hair, the steamy break room hookup, and courtroom confessions before, let's say, lunchtime. Meanwhile, we're over here trying to figure out whose phone battery's dying, whose jacket smells like decomp, and who's one bad sneeze away from peeing their pants. Because Lordy knows you are not allowed to take a bathroom break in the crime scene powder room.
That is true, seriously. So let's clear this up. Real crime scenes, everybody has a lane, everybody has a job. And if everybody stays in that lane, things go hopefully pretty smoothly. And if they don't, well, that's when your bloodstain pattern ends up with a deputy's boot print through it, or the skull of the poor dead guy in the grave you're excavating ends up with a shovel through it.
Oh, and yes, I've heard the stories. Actually, one trooper told me he spent the better part of 20 minutes securing a homicide scene. You know, setting the perimeter, keeping all
Mm.
the neighbors and gawkers back, making sure nobody crossed the tape, doing everything exactly by the book as he was taught. and then looks up and sees his brand new rookie standing dead center in what was supposed to be a pristine blood trail.
Oh, not pristine
Just
anymore.
right, just staring at the victim, completely locked in, not looking down, not looking around, just boots planted right in the middle of the damn evidence.
Dang it.
And the trooper friend said there was long, painful silence before everybody at the scene slowly turned and looked at that rookie's feet.
Oh God, that poor kid. I actually probably would have punched him in the throat. Nicely, of course.
Right? Oh, it gets better. He looked down, looked back up, and apparently his exact words were, is that bad?
And somewhere a crime scene analyst just lost a year off of their life.
Yes.
Right? Hearing that story. And that rookie, hopefully never did that again. Hopefully. So
Hopefully.
let's start Crime Scene 101 with the gang. And yes, I said gang because a major crime scene can start looking a lot like the world's weirdest family reunion. Who shows up, it depends entirely on the scene. But on a homicide, you may see, say, patrol officers, detectives, crime scene analysts, medical legal death investigators, sometimes firefighters, sometimes EMS, not that we would need them because most people are dead, sometimes a district attorney, sometimes federal agents. And if you're out in the woods, down a ravine, stooped in a basement, or crawling through blackberry bushes, you'll encounter me, your friendly neighborhood forensic anthropologist. Because apparently being the bone girl means everybody calls when something weird comes out of the dirt.
Or, like you said, crawl space, cellar,
Yep,
floating in a river,
check,
wrapped up in a tarp behind a barn.
check.
Oh, lovingly knotted in a black plastic garbage bag or a fire pit.
Check,
Because
check.
apparently, Oregon doesn't just love drama. Oregon likes its drama damp, heavily wooded, and usually at least 2 hours from decent coffee and cell phone service.
You're right. Oregon absolutely adores drama. I got called for buried bodies, skeletal remains, decomposed remains, burnt remains, river recoveries, basements, barns, woods, garbage piles, burn piles, and once a pig farm. And let me just tell you, that one changed my relationship with bacon for just a little while. We will definitely be talking about the Rogue River pig farm at some point, but first, let's talk about who's actually doing the work. So, what exactly is a forensic scientist? So, in Oregon, crime scene analysts usually come from different forensic disciplines. You might have a firearms examiner, a trace evidence analyst, a latent print analyst, a forensic biologist, maybe a DNA analyst. They're all from different backgrounds, but they have the same crime scene training and the same crime scene manual. Different annual quality assurance exams for each person in their specific forensic discipline, but everyone on the field investigation or FI team takes the same annual quality assurance exam for field investigations. So yes, your DNA analyst better know how to print a car door for fingerprints, and your firearms examiner better know how to recognize blood spatter, because on a crime scene, we're not specialists, we're generalists, and we're basically Swiss Army knives.
Which kind of sounds badass, you know, until you realize your Swiss Army knife has worked 6 straight days, hasn't slept in 20 hours because they arrived at their crime scene in the late afternoon after working a normal 10-hour shift at the lab, uh, is living on gas station coffee and beef jerky if they're lucky, and at this point, honestly, smells only slightly better than the poor dude in the garage.
The poor dead dude in the
The
garage,
poor
right?
dead,
Yeah.
yeah, dead dude.
And somehow we still think we're going to make good decisions on that crime scene. So, how does any of this even start? It starts, Mindy, with a phone call. Usually in the middle of the night, because apparently nobody gets murdered or dies under suspicious circumstances between 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. I don't know why. It's
So,
just happens.
yeah. and so very goddamn inconsiderate.
Yes.
And honestly, I do not miss those 2 a.m. phone calls. I don't know
God,
about
no.
you.
No.
And we haven't even talked about when the public information officer gets notified.
Yeah.
Spoiler alert, at the same damn time as everybody else. Because if something big just happened, guess who's already awake and ready to go? The media. And trust me, reporters do not care what time it is. At 2 a.m., they're already calling, already texting, already emailing, wanting to know what happened. How many people? Was it a crime? Can we go there? Can we go live? And weirdly, I was never actually mad about those calls because, as painful as they were to get woke up at 2 a.m., it gave me a pretty good heads up about the giant shitstorm that was awaiting me for when I walked into the office a few hours later.
Yeah, exactly. Everybody's getting activated at that point. Dispatch, law enforcement, forensics, medical examiner, and PIOs, like you said. And usually some poor detective who thought they were going to get the night off and tonight was going to be quiet. And once everybody's awake, the real juggling act begins because now somebody has to figure out who's actually going to the crime scene, who's closest, who's qualified, who's still in training, who's out of town, who can function on 3 hours of sleep and gas station breakfast burritos. Because contrary to television, crime scenes don't magically staff themselves.
And this is the part people never really think about
Mm-hmm.
because before anybody collects evidence, before anybody dusts for prints, before anybody says, yeah, we've got a body, some poor bastard has to figure out who's awake, who's available, who's on call, who's already been working for 12 hours, and who can drive 3 hours in the rain without becoming the next maybe crime scene, or
Right. Yeah.
crash at least.
Exactly. So in Oregon, there are 5 crime labs, and Oregon's not exactly small. You might be the closest qualified person and still be 3, 4, sometimes 5 hours away from the crime scene. And the crime labs have divided the state into regions. So one lab may cover up to 6 counties at a time, or even more, because dead people apparently never schedule themselves near your neighborhood. But I don't know, maybe that's a good thing. It means you've chosen your home location well. And the on-call forensic manager is basically playing human checkers at 2 a.m. Again, who's closest? Who has the right skill set for this crime scene? Who can stay awake for 16 hours? Who doesn't have to pick up their kid from daycare tomorrow? Because yes, that matters in real life. You don't send somebody to a quadruple homicide if they have to leave in 6 hours for soccer practice. Or they're about to disappear on a 2 week vacation to Mexico. So when you get that call, you think you know what you're walking into. Um, Say your supervisor calls, Mindy. Hey, Nikki, there's a shooting at an apartment complex on the coast. Cool, I'm in, right? We grab our gear at the crime lab. We drive 2 hours in the rain. We show up, and suddenly it's not an apartment. It's not a shooting. It's a stabbing on a boat that's been set on fire and is half submerged. That
You
actually
know,
happened.
exactly. And of course it is because it's Oregon and it is still probably raining sideways
Yeah,
on you.
yeah, because, yeah, Oregon. And after 12 hours standing in salt water and gasoline, we made management buy hip waders for us all because it turns out other duties as assigned has its limits.
That actually reminds me of a trooper who once told me half of homicide work is the actual murder or investigation. The other half is, just like we've been saying, logistics.
Yeah. Yeah, like here's some logistics for you. Who's going to pay for the pizza delivery at 5 a.m.? Logistic me that.
Yeah, exactly. And
Please.
the more cops, detectives, and investigators I've worked around over the years, the more I realized he wasn't kidding.
Right.
Because people picture, the typical television yellow tape, flashing lights, the body, the evidence markers. What they don't picture is grown adults standing around somebody's pickup truck at 3 in the morning, staring at a calendar, checking call lists, arguing over who's got fresh batteries, who's packed extra gloves, who remembered to grab the digital camera, and who's been awake so long they probably shouldn't be trusted with sharp objects.
Exactly. Oh, and by the way, when I was on the crime scene team, we had 2 digital cameras, and yep, we named them Crockett and Tubbs, also known as Sonny and Rico. If you get specific and on a first name basis with a digital camera. Well, unfortunately, I just dated myself and dated the entire crime scene team that actually named those cameras. So we're moving on. Back to your chat with the trooper, Mindy. That trooper is absolutely correct. If you're not good at logistics and you're in charge of a crime scene, you're in for a circus. And you're the main clown. Logistics usually begins with my favorite question. Do we have a search warrant? Can I get an amen from all the crime scene analysts listening out there? Because if the answer is, we're working on it, that means there's a very real chance my partner and I just drove 3 hours to sit in a driveway eating questionable gas station snacks for 6 more hours.
Honestly, I've heard more than one detective say nothing builds friendships faster than standing in the freezing rain, sharing stale jerky, questioning every life choice that brought them to that point, waiting for a judge to sign a search warrant, who also has to be woken up at 3 in the morning.
Yeah.
Just so you know, they're
Facts.
not usually happy about that.
Facts. I have made lifelong law enforcement friends doing absolutely nothing in somebody's driveway at 3 in the morning, sharing, mixed nuts, drinking coffee that tastes vaguely like burnt wood, and waiting on a judge who apparently believes sleep is a constitutional right. And once we're finally cleared to enter, we've got that search warrant. That's when the real work starts. So let's get to it. First thing, the walkthrough. And this part is, I'd say the word sacred, really. Only a few of the players are allowed in for that initial walkthrough. Probably the lead detective, the district attorney, if they're there, the death investigator, and the crime scene analysts. And the rules are clear to everyone. Everyone puts gloves on. Everyone puts shoe covers on. Nobody touches anything. Nobody picks up the bloody baseball bat in the living room. Nobody opens a drawer. Nobody flips over the couch cushions. Nobody decides, hey, I wonder what's in this backpack. And for the love of all things holy, nobody crouches over the victim and pokes the body with a ballpoint pen. And yes, I have actually seen that start to happen. More than once, which is honestly deeply concerning. It's like one of those slow motion paper towel commercials, Mindy, where the wife is like slow mowing no toward the green juice flowing towards her anniversary photo on the counter. I have slow mowed toward more than one district attorney in my day, shielding the body on the kitchen floor from their dirty ballpoint pen or finger. Yes, I'm looking directly at the television again. You know who you are, district attorney. So, the walkthrough. We walk, slow, quiet, we observe. We look both down and up. We mentally document what seems to be important, what needs to be done first, and we start building a mental map. Because before you touch a single thing, the scene is hopefully already developing into a kind of story.
Yeah, so before anybody's collecting evidence, before the swabs come out of the pockets, before the little yellow evidence markers everybody loves on TV, you're basically reading the room. And honestly, this might be where my cop friends, with all of the love in the world, sometimes get in the fucking way. Because, cops are trained to move, to clear the house, find the threat, find the victims, secure people, take control. They're not walking and thinking. Well, we can go into that later, but anyway, they're not walking and thinking, oh, fascinating, transfer pattern in blood. They're thinking, is that the bad guy still here?
Yeah, that's true. And to be real fair to my fine colleagues in uniform and gun belts, that's exactly what they're supposed to be doing, right? If there's a threat, I want law enforcement moving fast. I want doors opened. I want rooms cleared. I want people safe. That's their lane. My lane starts after that. Yeah, well, little known fact, I didn't meet my husband for years because of this whole stay in your lane shit. We worked for different law enforcement agencies. He worked fourth shift, which is basically late afternoons until 2 a.m. Whenever there was a crime scene in his jurisdiction, he may have shown up to clear the scene, then he would hightail it out of there so he wouldn't get caught by the TV cameras from the local news station that just showed up. He would also park his car a couple blocks away so he didn't get blocked in by the fire engine or the crime scene truck, which I would be in, arriving about an hour after he got his call about the crime scene. We were literally like two polyester clad ships that passed in the night for 20 years. We were like the side storyline in the crime drama that got left on the cutting room floor because it wasn't as interesting as the medical examiner dating the FBI agent. So, our amazing law enforcement partners are happy to stay in their lane so they don't have to write a long report and what they did. And I began to get my bearing in my lane because now I'm walking into the scene mentally asking, is it clean? Is it cluttered? Are there signs of struggle? Is there furniture in the wrong places or turned over? Is there blood on the walls? Are there broken dishes? Is there a weapon in plain sight? What's out of place? What should be here that isn't? What shouldn't be here that is? Because crime scenes can certainly, again, tell a tale. You just have to shut your pie hole long enough to listen.
Right? And God, I love that. Crime scenes tell a tale. And on the TV shows, most of the characters are way too damn busy freaking talking to actually listen to that
Yes.
tale.
Yep. And yet another distinction between fact and fiction right there. If there is a body, that's where the medical legal death investigator comes in. And these folks, they're laser focused on one thing, the decedent, the deceased, the dead person, because their job, documenting the body in situ. That means exactly where it was found, not moved, not rolled over, not just scooted a little bit, exactly as it was discovered. So, medical legal death investigators document injuries, clothing, jewelry, nearby medications, documents, environmental conditions, temperature listed on the thermostat, body position, lividity, rigor, body temperature, insect activity, anything. And I mean anything, any information from the scene that assists the forensic pathologist and determines a cause and manner of death.
Okay, quick nerd time out because Doc, you just casually dropped words like lividity and rigor, like
Mm.
we all took forensic pathology in college. So before we go any further, cause versus manner, right? Because people mix these terms up pretty often. And maybe while we're at it, tell us what the hell lividity is. Because, I mean, to me, it kind of sounds like either a Harry Potter spell or maybe a prescription for cream for something that's currently covered by clothing.
That's fair. Okay. So let's start with cause versus manner. Cause of death, that's the medical reason somebody died. It may actually be a cause, condition, or a sequence of events leading to the death of a person. And a cause of death is not a mode of dying like you might think. A mode of dying is one which would not explain why someone died, like cardiac arrest or renal failure. So, like common causes of death in my universe, gunshot wound to the chest or head or multiple gunshot wounds. You get the idea on that one. Blunt force trauma, sharp force trauma, asphyxia due to manual strangulation, asphyxia due to ligature strangulation, exsanguination, which is the excessive loss of blood, whatever physically caused the body to stop doing what bodies are supposed to do, which is basically living. Manner of death, that's the legal classification. So that's natural, accidental, suicide, homicide, undetermined. And trust me, getting that wrong matters because of insurance. criminal charges, liability, public health, families, everything. And since, well, you called me out, Mindy, let's hit some of those other nerd words. Why not? Uh, Livor mortis, or liver, or lividity, is what happens when your heart stops pumping and gravity takes over. Your blood settles in the lowest parts of the body. So if somebody dies on their back, you'll often see dark purple discoloration and pooling along their back, their shoulders, and their legs. It just means that heavy red blood cells sink through the serum of the blood by gravity, basically. Livor mortis starts within 20 to 30 minutes, but is usually not observable until 2 hours after death. Liver is a key indicator in forensic death investigations, as it might determine the timing of the death and indicate the position of the victim. And if I walk into a scene and that lividity shows they appear to have been on their back for hours with that all that dark, but the decedent is now face down, well, now we've got questions, because that's opposite of the way it should look. Rigor mortis, that's the stiffening of the muscles after death, post-mortem rigidity, if you will. It's caused by chemical changes in the muscles after someone dies. Usually starts a few hours in, and rigor usually follows a set of rules where it begins in certain muscle groups first, like the jaw, neck, and the small muscles of the face. Arms, muscles of the trunk, and then the legs are next. It doesn't happen all at once, though. Between the first hour and 8 hours of death, the body begins to stiffen, but it's still movable. Between 8 and 12 hours of death, muscles become fully stiff. And then between 24 and around 36 hours after death, stiffness starts to disperse and muscles become flexible again. So rigor mortis only lasts between about 24 and 48 hours. And then the body becomes limp again. And so TV also gets that wrong all the time, or they just don't have the timing down, or they kind of half get it right, then they abandon science for drama. It makes for good TV, but it's hardly ever accurate.
And I love that. Dead people are out there giving clues through gravity, muscle stiffness, and decomposition.
You said
Meanwhile,
stiffness.
I said stiffness.
Sorry.
That's all right. We still are 12-year-olds at heart. Meanwhile, the rest of us can't even leave decent descriptions on a Post-it note.
I know, exactly. So there's our little mini course in forensic pathology terms, people. Love you, dismembers. Hope that I didn't lose you. Meanwhile, my job is the crime scene. And the fewer people touching stuff, the better. I've literally looked up, when photographing a homicide scene, seen a deputy standing dead center in my shot, and I have to tell him, hey there, bud, do you really want to be in this picture? Because you'll probably be subpoenaed, and I promise the defense attorney would love to meet you. And poof, gone. Never seen someone move that fast. No one wants to be subpoenaed to a criminal case because they inadvertently ended up in a crime scene photo.
Fastest cardio they've done all year, I guarantee. And let's be honest, cops will do just about anything. I mean, anything to avoid having to testify in court.
Right. Or write a report.
Or write a report.
Yeah.
Or do much of anything. Sorry.
Oh.
I love my trooper friends. I love them. Okay, let's talk about the part that never comes across on TV. And honestly, can't really come across here either, but we're going to try. The smell.
No. Oh, the smell. And here's the fun part. Every crime scene smells different. Fresh blood, gunpowder, bleach, gasoline, liquefied brain tissue, decomposition, burnt food on the stove, burnt homicide victim in the barn. Even the things that you wouldn't think would bother you still make an impression on your brain. It can't help it. Fresh shampoo on a victim's hair, scented candles in the living room, even things like dog food or kitty liver. I was on one homicide when somebody had mac and cheese burning on the stove when we entered in, and I'm not kidding. I couldn't eat mac and cheese for days.
Oh,
it only took days, though.
Oh, well, yeah, it's mac and cheese.
Yeah, exactly.
Come on. Okay, this is probably a little bit sick and wrong to admit, but
Mm.
I'm amongst friends. But I used to work in a slaughterhouse. So for me, the smell of fresh blood, honestly, not bad at all. I actually
Oh,
kind of like it.
mm.
It's clean, which now that I say it out loud feels like something I probably should have kept to myself.
Yeah,
I hear
it's
it now. I hear it now.
slightly concerning, but honestly, maybe not that weird for you.
Yeah, true.
I mean, in fact, crime scene analysis is hard work. And it's always felt a little wrong being hungry for ribs after like a long scene, especially at a fire.
Right. I mean, and I've heard troopers say the same
Uh,
thing. And one guy told me he couldn't eat chili for like 6 months after one scene. Another
mm.
one said he can't smell a certain Glade air freshener ever without immediately being transported back to a homicide scene he worked like 20 years ago, which honestly, feels fair.
Oh, absolutely. And I mean, we all know that smells will take you back. That's for sure. And speaking of smells, that pig farm I mentioned that I was at a few years ago was a sensory cornucopia of unique scents.
Yes, yes, yes. The pig farm. Fun. Let's go. Are we going to hear about it now? Come
No,
on.
no, no, no. I'll just say we were there looking for buried bodies, and I ended up not eating bacon for a while. Not forever, mind you. I'm not insane, but for a while. Oh, and trust me, the pig farm, that story deserves its own episode for sure. Anyway, the truth is, no matter what kind of scene it is, no matter how badly the supervisor got it wrong, we stay as long as it takes once we're there, despite the smells, despite everything we see. 8 hours, 12, 16, whatever the scene needs, because we only get one shot, one chance to document it correctly, one chance to recognize, photograph, collect, and preserve evidence, one chance to help tell the emerging truth that the evidence is telling us. And once that scene changes, once something gets moved, once something gets contaminated, once we leave, you don't get that moment back. So we observe first. We circle back around and place placards or markers next to the items we think are significant. We document what each marker represents. Then we take pictures of what we observed, first without the marker, then with it. As a photographer at a crime scene, your images and the order in which you take them are crucial. Your diagram, your narrative, your reconstruction, even your conclusions are all based on how well you document that scene because you only have one chance.
And let's not forget behind all the tape, all the technical aspects, all the evidence tape, the blood spatter, the shoe prints, the pizza boxes, all the bad coffee, all the wet boots, all the dark, dark humor that we love and enjoy.
Mhm.
There really is still a family grieving, a victim, a story, and a whole lot of people doing everything they can to really get it right, because somebody's worst day just became your work day. And that weight of that never really goes away.
Exactly. Yeah. So, no, ultimately, crime scenes aren't sexy. They're harrowing, scary, technical, and heavy on the detail. Nobody's camera ready at 3 a.m. Everybody's trying to make the best decisions on zero sleep. But the work, it's the technical work that matters. And we better be good at the work if we want to contribute to the truth or justice or whatever that looks like based on that crime scene. So when all is said and done, everything has been documented, described, photographed, sketched, observed, marked, and cataloged, then and only then do we begin to methodically collect the evidence we've recognized as important. Each item placed in a paper bag and sealed, labeled, and handed over to law enforcement. Each placard, one by one, gets picked up, cleaned, and stored for the next run. All the garbage you create at the crime scene is placed in a special receptacle and you haul it out yourself. Not sexy, but super important. And every aspect of a crime scene kind of goes hand in hand with the neat freak tendencies of most of the members of the team. We were pretty much born to do this shit because since age 6, we've been color coding our GI Joes and organizing our ammo for the BB gun. This is the natural next step as an adult.
Dear Lord, I never thought about crime scene analysts as really grown up kids. I can just imagine the kind of anal retentive kid you were, and maybe
Yes.
are a little bit.
Yes, I color coded my clothing in my closet. I still do.
I do too. I do too.
And when we would find like a dead cat by the side of the road, we'd go back and look at it every day just to see how it changed and documented when the bones started sticking out. But I don't think that the dead cat made me a better crime scene analyst. I just think we grew up in Montana and that's the shit we did for fun.
I mean, I have a dead turkey baby on the side of my road right now that I was picking at it with a stick, trying
I
to figure
have
out what kind of bird it was.
I have
It
no doubt.
happens. Well, and I can honestly say you make so much more sense to me now. Thank God. This isn't a podcast episode of psychology and the patterns of weirdos. We'd be fucked. I mean, because look at us.
Ugh.
So back to the crime scene. In the end, we've done a bunch of different things and Swiss Army knifed our way around someone's apartment, collecting evidence, looking at blood spatter, photographing shoe prints. How do you know when really enough's enough and when to stop?
Yeah, that's a great question. We collaborate. We're constantly reconnecting with the detectives in charge, asking questions, giving answers, comparing notes, and assessing which room to tackle next. So, hypothetically, we photographed the blood spatter on the kitchen wall and took samples. Our hypothetical crime scene. We removed the blonde hair from the torso of the victim on the dining room floor who has red hair. All of that stuff has been packaged up and protected. The death investigator loads up the body now that the area around him has been documented and the trace evidence has been collected. So the body's now on its way to the ME's office for an extensive exam, like the autopsy. If we're lucky, we may be able to get back to the lab, change clothes, and attend the postmortem examination. Now that we've spent 7 hours with this body, we want to see what kind of wounds created that kind of blood spatter on the wall in the kitchen. It sounds morbid, but man, it can be interesting. Say we found Converse tennis shoe prints that look like they lead away from the broken window out in the backyard. We photographed them, we poured plaster in one of them and made a cast for future comparisons, and we barked at 3 EMTs not to walk through the trail. We consulted with the death investigator, who told us she found sharp force trauma wounds to the victim's hands, which indicate he held his hands up in a defensive posture while he was being struck with something. So we're looking for a bloody knife, perhaps, because he's got wounds on his hands. Then why did we find a bloody bat in the garage?
Dear sweet baby Jesus, this sounds like you could be there forever. A knife,
Yeah.
a bat, a dead dude. Where does it end? I mean, seriously, how do you know when to stop?
Well, we stop when it seems logical to stop. There's really no other way to explain it. In a case like this, our hypothetical case, we would collect the bat and still look for a knife because we can't know for sure what's important evidence and what may end up being non-probative evidence. So we mark and collect everything that seems out of place or compelling or unusual, or that may lead us down a scientific road for answers. Then we reassess again. We reconnect with detectives over and over again until we're convinced we've done everything we can. After all that, we climb our dusty, dirty, sad carcasses back into the truck and drive home. It's probably morning or dusk or afternoon by now. Our families haven't heard from us in about 9 hours. Then, as we drive away, most of us start to think, did we get everything? Did we find everything? Is there anything we missed? But that's the nature of field investigations. You train, you practice, you test each other, you simulate crime scenes, and you show up with your best scientific nerd cap on to hopefully find the clues that matter.
It's just so much more methodical than TV makes it look.
Yeah.
Like most of those shows make crime scenes look like a combination of like, I don't know, a rave and an Easter egg hunt. Everyone is wandering around and everyone is invited. I don't think so.
Yeah.
So
True.
let's break down the truth. Being at a crime scene is a ton of responsibility. And analysts, investigators, they really know that. A family is in anguish, a victim is deceased, and we're dealing with both obvious and not so obvious signs of what happened leading up to this death. Field investigators were not there, so there's no way to exactly what happened, pretty much ever.
Yeah.
Crime scene analysts are tasked to, I mean, in a way, reconstruct what happened through the physical evidence that they find. That's a tall order, but crime scene analysts and death investigators are really up for it. Like you said, they've been trained, they have experience to recognize things that look out of place, the way bodies should be lying as opposed to how they were found, meaning something maybe staged, for the lack of a better word.
Mm-hmm.
And we have the most knowledge of how to successfully preserve physical evidence so that it can be analyzed in that laboratory later. Just like the body is analyzed at the autopsy, physical evidence is analyzed at the crime lab. When everyone works together towards the same goal, there is a successful outcome. And hopefully, justice is served and a perpetrator is identified.
Yes. Amen, sister.
Exactly. So, all right, dismembers, if this episode ruined crime shows for you, damn it, good. And you're freaking welcome.
You're welcome.
You're welcome because that shit is fake as hell. So, what did we learn today?
What did we learn today,
A,
Mindy?
what did we learn today? Gas station coffee is apparently a personality trait. Hip waiters are sometimes essential government equipment.
True.
Nobody, and I mean nobody, should be making life altering decisions after 18 hours awake.
Yep.
Period. And never ever crouch over shit that isn't in your lane of expertise. And if you hear a forensic scientist yell, "Don't touch anything," trust me, that includes you, cowboy.
So many lessons that our dismembers have learned today.
Absolutely.
And if
You're
you've got
welcome.
more questions about crime scenes, the ins and outs of crime scenes, our past episodes even, or which McDonald's sandwich is Mindy's favorite, keep feeding the morgue mailbag because apparently you sick little weirdos love this stuff. And honestly, so do we.
Oh, now I want
I
McDonald's.
know, it sounds good,
Is
doesn't it?
is there where we're meeting next? Please tell me yes. Please tell me yes.
Mindy, hey, let's go get ourselves a couple of bacon, egg, and cheese biscuits, a couple Diet Cokes, and meet me at the morgue.